The beauty of qualified charitable distributions, man. This is just legendary. So I'm dealing with these freaking absolute rock stars, crusher, legends. They're moving from Florida back to their northern Big Ten states from which they came. They lived in Florida for about 4 years. They say, man, it's too expensive in Florida. I say, yeah, I'm hearing that every now and again. I'm hearing that. So they're moving back from where they're coming. Anyway, so they done a good job, raise kids, squirrel away money, and just the whole thing. Mortgage paid off, not a fancy schmancy, good time rock and roll house. The husband likes to raise bees. He's retired now, and they showed me their backyard, and they got the bees going up there. So it's freaking wonderful. Anyway, the husband is supposed to send me some asparagus, because I guess up there in the northern Big Ten states, they got good asparagus. So I said, all right, well, my wife loves asparagus, so if you want to get on my wife's good side, send it to me. Anyway, so these guys are, very God-fearing people, you know what I'm saying? And so we're talking about how to get her IRA low, so that way when he dies, she's not left with a massive widow's tax trap. All right, and so that's what we're contending with here. All right, so we have a couple options. We can do Roth conversions, of course. They don't really need the income because she has a pension and they both have Social Security. They just don't spend that much money. So they got a pension, must be nice. It's like $35,000, $40,000 a year or something like that. I can't remember. Not a huge, look, it's a pension. Don't get me wrong. It's better to have a pension, in this regard. I get it. But it's not, they're not freaking, New Jersey superintendent of public schools are making $200,000 a year. It's just not. And they both took Social Security at 62. So their Social Security isn't $1 million a year either. So between their pension and Social Security, they're living on basically $80,000 a year, and that's more than they need. If they want to spend more, they can. They have kids. The kids are growing, doing well. So they got, he's got all his money in the Roth. She has a sizable amount of her money in the Roth. And when we talked about it last time, because this is a review we had with him, we said, continue to do Roth conversions until the IRA is exhausted, and then you can, then your wife, Jane, in this case, Jane, won't have any massive hits to taxes from widow's tax trap. But they're very charitably inclined, very active in the church. They want to give to various universities and stuff that see the way, the viewpoint that they do, which is very, very important, my friends. And this was, they know this. I'm not telling them anything they don't know, but the left has got the money. The left is throwing money out there, millions and millions and millions of dollars to bad entities that are basically satanic. If you have it in your wheelhouse, you should be supporting the good entities that are not satanic. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what these guys intend. And remember, if we look at, we're all stewards of God's money. So it's not our money anyway. God just wants to see what you do with it. You don't want to freaking be like the parable of the talents where you just invest it in the ground. You just dig it in the ground and give it back to your master because you said he's a mean guy. You want to invest that money. See how it grows. To whom much is given, much is expected. Yeah, that's funny. You can see him right there. See him? Can y'all see him? See him. So that's what we want to do. We want to use God's wealth to advance the kingdom, essentially. Again, it's not our money. We're just building up treasure in heaven, to quote Randy Alcorn's The Treasure Principle book, a great book, Randy Alcorn, The Treasure Principle. So we're looking at doing a QCDs as opposed to Roth conversions because they're not all that inclined to leave their kids a mint. They're like, we'll leave them some money, but that's not our priority. Our priority is to do good work for God. You know what I'm saying? With the money that we've been allowed to accumulate. So Roth conversions don't make sense. Why pay the tax now to get your kids tax free when you can just do qualified charitable distributions? And watch what happens here, man. This is just great. So we're going to talk about this next. Right here, competitive state tax competitiveness. You'll never guess what's the worst state tax. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this guy first. All right. You don't know who these people are. We'll call them John and Jane. And you can see this is with QCDs. This is without QCDs. And QCDs are just basically, she will be 70.5 next year. So she's essentially, what I said is just you're basically giving your RMDs to your church in this case, or whatever organization. And her RMDs are pretty high. I think it was like $50,000 a year. So we're giving $50,000 a year, inflating that to your church, your charity, however you want to do it. Doesn't matter. They just adopted a dog, so SPCA. Whatever, man. Just make sure those guys aren't, the CEO isn't living on $2 million a year. You want to be like that longshoreman union guy. Oh, geez, Louise and blue cheese. Anyway, so we're going to give basically the equivalent of their RMDs each and every year. All right. That means the RMDs are no longer in your account. They're out of the IRA, and you don't have it in a brokerage account. You're not spending it either. You're literally giving it away. And if we do that until she's dead, because she'll survive him by 5 years, she has a 97% probability of success, which is fine. She has a median liquid net worth to her kids of $1.7 million. If they don't give away the RMDs and retain them, they have a 100% probability of success and a $2.5 million liquid net worth to leave it to their kids. All right. Now, obviously, you could give that money to your kids here too. While if you want, I got no qualm with that, but that won't affect you. You got to pay tax on that money. If you give it to a charitable district, a charitable entity, it's tax free. It doesn't even show up on your 1040. And I'll show you what a 1040 looks like here. So that's fantastic right there. Now let's watch what happens here. Let me do this one first. Effective tax rate without any QCDs. You can see it's about 16% right there when RMDs kick in, and then boom, when he dies, it jumps up to about 22%. All right, so you can see that right there, and you can see right here when the QCDs, it's about 9% and jumps up to about 13%. So a significant reduction in effective tax rate because we're going to have a significant reduction in total taxes. Here, they're going to pay $600,000 in total taxes on their IRA. So here's the RMDs right here: 54, 57, 60. Tax at 26, 26, 27, 27. And then you see with the QCDs, they only pay $200,000. So they're losing $700,000 in terms of total net worth they're leaving, but they're also losing $400,000 less in taxes. All right, so that's just a fact. So they're paying $400,000. Essentially, what's happening here with QCDs, which is a wonderful thing, and I'm surprised the Republicans were able to get this through. They're essentially robbing the IRS. They're giving to the church and not the IRS. Oh, but they could do that with charitable deductions anyway. No, you can't. If you don't itemize your taxes, and most of you won't, you're not. I mean, they could, if they did a $50,000 IRA charitable distribution, they would probably itemize their tax. I grant you. Itemization isn't the same as the QCD not even showing up your 1040. So let me show you what a 1040 looks like here, because this is important. Here's their 1040 in 10 years, basically. You can see they got IRA distributions, $81,000. That's RMDs, $81,000. They got their pension right there, $38,000. They got their Social Security right there. So their total taxable income is $166. All right, $166. All right, so now we're going to do, if I can find the other one, hang tight. Here's the no RMDs. She still has a little bit of an RMD because she's actually, what we're doing is we're inflating her charitable distribution by 3%, and she's actually getting about a 5% growth in the portfolio. So there's still a little bit of an RMD in this regard. So she's got 8,400 RMDs, the same amount of the pension, the same amount of Social Security, but instead of 166,000 taxable income, she only has 93,000 in this case. So because she had given away so much money, basically, essentially her RMDs, doesn't show up in her 1040. Now, the other case, if she could still give $50,000 to a charity, whatever she wants, but it'll be deductible, and deductions are not nearly as worth it. Credits are better, and then not showing on your 1040 is next best. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't even show it on your 1040, there's nothing there to show. What a deductions, you have to show on your 1040, then you got to give 1099 charitable deductions that you form, and you say, I got a deduction of $50,000. Well, how much of that are you actually getting? Because remember, your standard deduction is already $30,000. So if you have a $50,000 deduction, you're literally only getting $20,000 of that. Why? Because you already have $30,000 of standard deductions. So a $50,000 charitable deduction, you're not getting $50,000 of deductions. I mean, you are, but in reality, you're only getting $20,000 because you already have $30,000 to begin with, if that makes sense. So in this case, we still get the standard deduction, and we don't show the income at all. I hope that makes sense. So check this out. We're only showing 124 here. I can't remember how much the other one was. But then we still get these standard deductions and personal exemptions. If we had to deduct that, we would do that for sure. Or instead of having this right here for personal deductions, personal exemption, standard deductions, just be $50,000 of itemized deductions. That's it. We don't want itemized deductions. If we can avoid it, we'd rather say, here, you take the $50,000 and I still get to itemize. You're only gaining $20,000 of deductible income when you actually give, as opposed to doing QCDs. QCDs are the best things to slice bread, dude. Good job, Republicans, getting that done. The more you give QCDs, the less the IRS gets. It's just that fact. Love your thoughts. God bless. We'll see you.